Hi, it's Rick Hoban here, and I'd like to talk to you today about how a teacher can be viewed as a storyteller and how storytelling techniques can lead to rich discussions and lesson plans overall. As Daniel Willingham posits in his Why Don't Students Like School?, a storytelling analogy and approach to teaching sharpens students' learning and memory by utilizing familiar notions and techniques of causality, conflict, complications, and character. I like to think of this in terms of what's called Freytag's pyramid in plays, whether it be Shakespeare or Arthur Miller or the ancient Greek tragedians of play, sort of the rising and falling action, including also these things that are listed here: character, complications, conflict, and causality. This can be rich in terms of doing a lesson plan, as the book from Willingham puts forth with respect to the Star Wars films. I think any sort of learning can come off successfully when giving a story approach. Obviously, I am in English and the arts, and that would be rather easy to do, but I think it can also apply to chemistry if you're talking about certain elements, if you're talking about physical science and physics, electrons and neutrons, protons, quarks, and the like. All of this can be rich in story. I myself, as a learner throughout high school, characterized and gave form and meaning and story to things so that I could better remember them, because I'm a very story-minded person. So for me to succeed in what I thought were sort of the cold and dry and boring sciences, I had to employ storytelling techniques myself to understand how content worked, whether it be in various math classes, science classes, and the like. So I think that approach is not just good for those who are more right-minded in terms of lovers of fiction and that sort of thing. I think that the approach, in other words, as I put in a discussion post and as Willingham sort of suggests, what we have as human beings, the thing that we latch onto the most and learn from the most are stories and narratives. So it doesn't matter what sort of interest or brain types or specializations that we follow. Each one of us, I do believe, learns and processes and latches on and remembers story more than any other format of human communication. So, as I've suggested, and so has Daniel Willingham in the book in chapter 3, how can you consider yourself as a storyteller, to keep the analogy, the extended analogy, going? How can you deliver content in such a way that students are engaged in sort of wide-eyed wonderment, whether you teach things as far and broad as chemistry, physics, social sciences, and the like? I think that the storyteller approach, as I said a moment ago, can apply to any form. Let's not just think that it applies to those who are teaching English or literature, fiction, creative writing, that it can approach, the approach can be applied to virtually any school of thought, any high school class, even electives and business and so on. So I hope you take away from this a keen awareness of the richness of human storytelling, and that goes back as far as several millennia in terms of oral traditions, and I think it's still the best thing going under the sun. Thanks.